Hi everyone, Pam here at StackSocial. This week talking about another one of our really cool products. Today we're going to be covering the Raspberry Pi 3 starter kit. So there's a couple different components that come with this, but let's just take it one at a time, starting with the Raspberry Pi 3. So the Raspberry Pi 3 comes in this little tiny box. And what it is it's a microcomputer. So essentially, here, let's take it out of the box. You can plug this component into a monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse, and it's just like a very basic computer. You can see here, it's about the size of a credit card. It's really small, and here it is, the right side up. It has a couple USB ports, kind of an Ethernet port. It's got a bunch of different hookups that you can attach to it. But essentially what it is, it's just a tiny computer. And just to give you kind of a basis, this has about 1 gigabyte of RAM, whereas a normal laptop has about 4. So obviously you can't use this for your normal, everyday computing, because my laptop has 4 gigabytes of RAM, and if I have too many apps open on my Mac, then it slows down, things start to crash. So 1 gigabyte of RAM will go a long way, but it won't go all the way, basically. So this is super cool because it is so small, and you can basically program this to do just about anything. And the reason it's so versatile is because it was made with the intent of being able to teach people old and young basic computing and computer science. So essentially what you can do with this is learn everything from 0 to 100 about how to program hardware like this to do any number of things. So yeah, this is the main component. This is the Raspberry Pi 3, and people will buy just this component and make all sorts of things. Some examples of different projects that people have made with this tiny computer are, for example, people have made mirror displays that you can put in your home that show you the weather, the time, different things like that. Actually, one more hilarious one that was trending in social media recently was a disgruntled customer programmed a Raspberry Pi to tweet the @Comcast customer support Twitter handle every time their internet speed dropped below their threshold. So basically, they can be programmed to do a lot of really cool stuff, and they can also be programmed to do really simple things, like something like building, a robot or a tiny little robot is probably fairly simple. Also, you can, for example, create your own or broadcast to your own radio station, which is a really cool one. You just find with a couple of different hookups and a few instructions, and you just find a frequency that's available in your area on FM radio, and you can basically have your own radio station, which is something that's really cool. Anyway, so this is the main component. Probably the most important component is the Raspberry Pi itself. So let's take a look at what else comes with the starter kit. So the starter kit also comes with this, which is a really awesome box that has a lot of parts in it that can help you with just about any project. Just to start with, it comes with a 16 gig SD card, a black enclosure for the Raspberry Pi, micro USB, HDMI, and a USB to TTL cable, which will help you hook up to a microcontroller and log into Raspbian code, and will help you get started making all sorts of projects and actually programming your Raspberry Pi. And it also comes with a wireless USB adapter, an Ethernet cable in case you want wired or wireless internet. So it comes with a ton of stuff that will help you start just about any project that you're trying to achieve. The other really important component that comes with not just the Raspberry Pi, the starter kit, but it also comes with 21 hours of e-learning. Now, this is really important because for some people, this, you might have been tinkering with things like microcomputers for a long time, and you might be an expert and know, just right out of the box exactly what to do. But if you're somebody who's new to hardware and who's new to Raspberry Pi in particular, then having some courses that will teach you the basics, what it is, and we'll walk you through a couple sample projects is always really helpful. So it comes with 21 plus hours, and I believe it comes with up to 5 or 6 courses, 6 courses I believe actually, that are all based on different projects, based on the basics, based on code, that will teach you everything you need to know. Which is really helpful because sometimes if you just order the Raspberry Pi itself is actually fairly inexpensive, but if you don't know what to do with it, then it can be pretty tough to get started. And so if you're somebody who's new to Raspberry Pi, who's new to microcomputers, then this is really going to be an awesome starter kit for you. And yeah, there's a lot of other different microcomputers out there, but Raspberry Pi seems to be kind of the best one right now. Another really interesting thing about Raspberry Pi is its name, obviously. And so just a fun fact to end with, Raspberry Pi got its name because Pi originally it could only run Python, so that's where the Pi comes from. And it comes from a long line of fruit-themed computers. There's I believe an apricot Pi, or an apricot computer, a tangerine computer. So yeah, so that's kind of a fun name, and that's why it's called Raspberry Pi, which I think to a lot of non-technical people automatically think that you're eating some sort of dessert, but it's actually a really cool piece of hardware. So the link is up on the description for the video, and I'll post it also in the comments, but check out the starter kit. It's super cool, and Raspberry Pi's it's got a lot of potential, and basically you can make anything you can dream of. It's super versatile and really easy, and a really just good thing to know, and could end up making your life really easy if you come up with some good life hacks for how to use your Raspberry Pi. Anyway, so yeah, I will post the link in the comments, and thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day.